Welcome back, everybody, to the CHG podcast. My name is RJ.
I'm David.
You should wait for me to stop talking and then you say something. Because that'll help with with the audio.
He's RJ. I'm David. This is the CHG podcast where we talk about The Last of Us, episode 7. Woo, 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 woo.
Episode 8. Dummy.
8, whatever. Second to last episode.
Second to last episode, and it was not an hour and a half like David was saying.
Maybe the final's an hour and a half, and that's what I was thinking of. But
it's going to have to be because there's a lot to cover.
There is a lot to cover.
If they're supposed to be the last, it looks like they are covering the entire game, so there's a lot to get through between where they left off this one and then the end of the game. So. And it looks like there's a little bit of backstory we're going to get with Ellie's mom, which that's going to be interesting.
Really?
I mean, in the little, next time thing, I was seeing some flashback, I was seeing some, they're showing some shit and everything. And I saw a woman, and unless she's another new character, the only woman that made sense to me was Ellie's mom. Because we know Ellie's mom knows Marlene. They knew each other, and we knew. Through the game, we knew that they knew each other, and we knew that Ellie's mom told Marlene to watch over Ellie before she died. Yeah. And so I'm assuming it's some kind of flashback thing, unless, again, like I said, if they add some more new characters. But that's what I was thinking. Anyways, so yes, episode 8 dropped last Sunday or yesterday. This is the 5th. Of March, and it was covering basically the entire winter chapter of the game. Mm-hmm. Now the winter chapter was not long, so it makes sense that this was a self-contained episode, which is what I kind of expected going in. I will say right off the bat, I think this is now my new episode for the most one-to-one adaptations so far from the game.
It gets a lot right. Like it, I think once again. And I mean, I'm not surprised, but like, I can see why the people who want more action, especially action from the game, is continuously like kind of like
on it.
let down because they skip out on a lot of Ellie,
fighting. Yeah, actually
fighting, and and they skip out on the David and her taking on the group of clickers and infected,
which that part so hard.
Yeah,
on grounded mode. I hate that whole sequence so much.
Yeah, so I think they obviously I wasn't surprised that they didn't have any of that stuff because that's been the trend. I think that it does. I think I very much like this episode, and we'll get to that later. But I think that it does kind of take away from. Now, okay, so I was trying to figure this out. In the game, did David get all creepy? Let's be a married couple.
Okay, I don't know about marriage. I don't know why Bella Ramsey said that at the after episode thing.
I mean, that's the vibe I kind of got. Was like, hey, let's run this together.
It was more of a predatory feeling. I got from
sure.
David.
Yeah,
not in the sense of we can do this together. We can run this group. It was more like, I just want you.
I'm gonna make you
under my wing, kind of thing.
Yeah,
more like a supporter or a follower, but secretly more of a more predatory thing.
In the game, you have these action sequences with David that kind of like. It allows David to see that Ellie can like take care of herself and that she is a leader and that she has, these innate skills and stuff. Where in the show, I guess it's more like David sees himself in her, so he knows that she's a leader and stuff. But like, just like in the last episode where the commander dude was like, you're a leader, but like we don't see anything that would tell them that she is. Like the only thing that we see in the flashback is her beating the shit out of a girl, and like I don't know about you, but that's not incredibly leader-like to me. And in this one, I mean, yeah, she's not afraid of them, and she holds them up and stuff. But
I still don't get it.
I think we could have benefited from at least, they didn't have to do a whole sequence, but like maybe there is a part where, they take down a few infected, like if like going into the shelter or something like that. I don't know. Like just to establish that, David sees that in her without just innately seeing it in her, I think would have been good. But this is nitpicking. This was a great episode. It was a great 1-for-1. I think the emotion throughout the episode, both in Ellie's in Bella's delivery of the lines, like her urgency to help Joel, her like disgust towards David after she finds out. Spoiler alert.
This is a whole spoiler review. You keep forgetting that, David. We are going over the spoilers.
that he's feeding his group people to supplement their meat consumption. I think that Bella did a great job of delivering all of the emotion, especially after the whole, I guess we can say it because we're not monetized anyway. The whole rape scene, I think, or the attempted rape scene, I should say. Are you trying to figure out where that is?
I'm trying to figure out why you're going all the way to rape, because
he was unzipping his pants.
What?
Yeah, right before
what?
she grabbed the hatchet to kill him, he was unzipping his pants, bro.
Okay, I missed that. I don't know. Maybe I blinked and missed it. But
yeah, like that's how she's able to grab it, is because he's like looking down at his pants, like either unzipping his or unzipping hers.
Okay, I gotta rewatch that then, because I didn't see that at all.
Yeah, it's definitely there. It's very subtle. Like they don't like zoom in on him, and but he's definitely.
Do you even hear a zipping?
Yeah, you hear him. You hear him like
what?
Getting at his pants.
What?
Yeah.
Why did I miss that?
It's very subtle, but it's definitely there. It's definitely there.
I'm not like okay. Wow. Okay, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was always implied David would do something to Ellie from the game, but he doesn't do that. He just chokes her.
Mm.
And it's like, you don't know what I'm capable of, which is equally as threatening, honestly. But okay, at least that makes sense of how she's able to get the hatchet. All right. Anyways, let me rewind. Let's rewind. Let's pull it back a second. I need to say this out the gate. And this, I don't know if you felt this way either, but I just want to put it out there. We didn't need the Jesus stuff. We didn't need it. I think it would have been just as fine without it. He could have even been a cult guy, but I personally didn't need the God. I thought it was just tacked on, and it didn't add anything to it because they barely delved into it. And so I felt it was a bit kind of like scapegoatish. And I didn't need it. And I didn't think the show needed it, especially when it wasn't in the game.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'll say that it makes sense for me, just because like I would expect if an apocalyptic event happened that religion would be used for both good and bad. I mean, it's used for both good and bad today. And I think that it would be something that would be used by people like David to corral and control people, to justify things that he's able to do. And like the being the father thing, and spare the rod, spoil the child. People use that all the time to justify child abuse by parents. So like I see that it is, I can see it being used. And yeah, it's gonna be Christianity. Like he was never gonna be a Muslim, leader, because that would have, because it is okay. And this is, if when Christians say this, as a Christian, I totally understand. It's definitely a thing that I recognize in media. It is okay to use Christianity as the bad guys. Like this, like the Book of Eli uses Christianity as a way to control people and justify things, and it's used in media a lot as like a bad guy uses Christianity to, you know, justify whatever. There's a lot of history for, you know, people using Christianity and the Bible to justify a lot of bad shit, slavery, women's, you know, women rights, stuff like, or anti-women rights, stuff like that. But yeah, they would have never been able to get away with, you know, using any other religion.
Well, my thing is just that because this is based on a video game, right? So
Yeah.
when I saw this, my mind immediately went to Far Cry 5 because that one was all based around it. But
Yeah.
that wouldn't bother me. Like I haven't played it yet, but I've seen it. I've seen a lot of it. And like if I were to, I'm gonna eventually one day play it. It's not going to bug me, right? And even like in Outlast 2, like that's a huge thing of like point of it too, because the game is built around it, and all of you have a whole narrative that explaining it, why it is happening, and in blah 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 blah, all your emotions going through it. When we have one episode where it's never brought up, and then you post to bring that up, and somehow then still tie in all the game stuff with this new stuff. It's just, if this was a recurring thing throughout the whole season, I could buy it. But for a self-contained thing, especially when I was thinking like we could have done everything the same if he was just some stupid crazy cult leader.
I just
think it
that
would have been just as effective.
I
That's
think
just
that
my
it's
opinion.
I agree. Like I think they definitely could have done it without, you know, just said, hey, you know, these people are afraid of him, so they follow him. But I think that going the religion route in Christianity, because it's really the only one that they can use in media, it has a built-in understanding of a societal structure. It's built-in understanding that this is used to, in real life situations, used to establish a male-centric dominance over a group. It's used to corral, because he is a cult leader. Like I think we can say that he is a cult leader.
Yeah, he's absolutely a cult leader.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
So,
he was that in the game too.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
So Christianity is used
it's
lot
the
as a cult background.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to just be like, what I would say is that this is just another cult leader. Like if you want to harp on the, you know, the Christianity part of it, whatever. But I just think it allows just for an easy understanding of why these people allow him to do this, because they're connecting it to their already built-in predisposition to following leaders of faith. So like I understand, and it could have been done by itself, but at least this, for people who are like, oh, I want to, you know, I don't understand why they would follow this guy. Well, it's a built-in. Yeah. You have a predisposition to follow people of faith.
I think it was because it's just, like you said, easy to follow. This is probably done for the masses. Because it's a common trope in a lot of shows, and it's easy, like you said, easy to understand, you can easily hate David now because that makes it easy, or at least be disgusted with him because it's a common thing.
I think it would be easy to hate David regardless of the religion.
I'm just saying, like, it just makes it even.
Like,
it just makes it even. It's a nice big, you know, just a wide brush that you can attract a lot of people, because the show was meant for the masses, including just people who don't know the show. And so it's just because it is TV, that is a commonly productive, or at least fruitful thing to do. And so I see why it works.
I think it's just an easy way to establish.
Here's the thing. Here's what bothers me sometimes. And trust me, this is not me being a conservative, so everyone who thinks I am, shut your damn mouths. But it's just like, you're not going to see what's this, Miles Malone or whatever that fucker's name is. You're not going to see someone like that harping on an episode like this because of that. Like, whereas like we'll lose our shit for like too much gay representation, but it's like when Christianity is being held as the bad guy, kind of almost scapegoat like, it's just you don't get the same response. And that's just kind of what it's like a duality there, and so it just made me see it, and I just had to comment on it because it kind of bugged me.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
So
I'm not bothered just because, like, to me, it was more about like, oh, like, here's another. Like, to me, it's just like I understand the power that Christianity can hold over people, and that they become so irrational when
yeah,
when
you probably know it more innately than I do.
yeah. So like, to me, it was like, okay, like, I get where they're going here, you know. And to me, it's not an attack on Christianity personally, because I know that that's not Christianity, that they're using themes from the Bible to control people, and that's been going on for ever since Christianity has existed.
Yeah, well,
And they're just
it's just
using it as a story trope. But I mean,
I'm just
I
trying to.
get why it would make people feel
Hey, I'm
uncomfortable.
just I'm just trying to be on back at JC, just show them that hey, some of us, just showing them that some people here, kind of sometimes get a little irked by it. That's all.
No,
You
I
know.
gotcha. I gotcha.
Um,
We're
anyway,
good.
so we'll move forward. So beyond that, that was pretty much like the only thing that kind of bugged me throughout this episode was just that little thing. But I also will say David. Okay, this David was pretty good, but I still feel like he could have been creepier. Like the David in the game was like almost immediately unsettling, whereas
Yeah,
this guy, like until we started acting wild and slapped that chick in the face,
just fucking
which was savage.
knock the
Um,
shit out of her, just
until
backhand her right
until
off
that
the
happened,
chair.
he just seemed he did seem a little creepy, but like as a guy, I didn't really feel creep vibes from him right away. But it wasn't until that shit hard happened when I was like, okay, there it is. There's the
Yeah,
lunatic.
yeah. In the game, he's definitely unsettling from the get go.
Right away. That
Um,
voice, whoever that voice actor is for him, superb. Like
yeah,
when you meet him, even though, and this is part of the good part, when Ellie and him are waiting in the shed for James to get back, most of that interaction was one for one from the
mhm,
game.
yeah,
Almost, I think there was like maybe a couple extra lines, but
buddy
more.
boy,
Oh yeah, especially the buddy. I started smiling when she said "buddy boy." I was like, "Ah, there it is." But
buddy
anyways,
boy could go get
um,
it.
yeah, ditto for buddy boy too. So when they were talking, even though he was given the exact same lines and they were still executed well, it's like, but since I know what the source material is, I was like, man, it just doesn't hold. I'm sorry,
I
it
think
just
I
it just
think
didn't hold
this
for me.
I think this plays better for the people who have not seen the
Oh, of
game,
course. I mean, they're not going to know
because
better, but it's fine.
I think for the people who haven't seen the game, so like for us that played the game, I never felt comfortable around David. Like
No,
from the get go, I was
no.
like, okay, not trusting this guy.
Mm-mm.
He's fucking
Mm-mm.
weird. It, but I think it does play better to want to trust David. Like he's getting her the medicine. He's helping them. Like you want to trust, and that's why I think that turn, like if I was totally clear of my expectations of the game, if I did not know where this is going, when he turns and his voice does change when he's like, yeah, he was killed by a crazy man who was with a girl. And I was just like, oh fuck, oh shit, like even though I knew, I was like, oh fuck, like, and I think it would play even better if I did not know already.
Oh well, I mean, well,
And
just change that to when you first played the game, because I felt that when I first played the game,
yeah,
and
but
so
I think it hits. I think it hits hard. I mean, and we would have to ask people who this is their first viewing of the story, because I think it would have, because like we already had a built-in distrust of David. This, I think, is totally devoid of that. Like you have a built-in trust of him because you're like, oh, he looks like a good guy. We just saw him like, being real concerned about his people. When we were watching him earlier, like he seems like a good guy who's just needs food for his people. Like I think you trust him if you don't know the story. And then that turns and you're like, oh no, he's gonna kill Joel, but like maybe he's just doing that out of revenge. He might still be a good, oh bam, and then you're like, oh fuck, okay,
this man's crazy. This man's insane. He's insane. Okay, you know what?
Even then, you're like, oh, maybe he's just a little bit crazy, and then you get fed more and more. You're like, okay, no, he is insane.
Okay, so you have a good point.
I would enjoy it.
You have a good point about him being more trusting because, yeah, you're right. Him saying those last lines to Ellie, they probably would hit a bit harder. I guess it's just me being a stickler for the source material.
No, I mean, I get it.
And
yeah.
Granted, this is not saying it was bad. It was good. It was still good. And Ellie's reaction was still good. And especially when, when they did, actually, it was so good. I actually forgot about the part where James was behind her, like ready to shoot. I almost forgot about that. I forgot about it. So when he was like, lower the gun down, James, I was like, oh shit, I forgot James was there the whole time. Because I remember in the game when that happened, I was like, oh shit, I was like, oh shit, James is there. So like that whole bit was done spectacularly. That whole, literally from the moment she meets them to after she leaves, 1-to-1.
Minus the no clicker interaction.
Oh, besides the fighting, yes. Which honestly, I kind of thought there would have been a clicker because she shot a rifle. And so unless there's just no one out there, because I mean, it is freezing cold and I mean, it's still a fungi. Mm-hmm. So I mean, maybe it just can't survive in that climate. I don't know.
Well, people talk all the time. Like the number one thing I hear when the zombie apocalypse things come up is one, that the bodies would decay in too much heat and they would like fall apart, or they would freeze in too much because you don't have blood circulation.
Yeah, because they're devoid of rationale, so they won't
warm themselves up.
So as long as you either keep them in the sunlight or you keep them in the cold, you're good.
Yes.
But anyways,
in temperate weather that fucks you.
So I mean, well, hey, we're good here. It's always freezing, so I mean, I'm good.
Oh, Washington's pretty temperate, bro.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Well, during the winter, it's not during the winter. Anyways, so on one hand, I was thinking like maybe there would be a clicker because she shot the rifle, but on the other hand, I was thinking, maybe not because it's kind of cold.
Yeah. Again, I don't mind it. I get why they don't. They got to move it along. They can't be stopping every episode for a little action scene. But at the same time, I would like a little action scene every now and then. I'm not gonna lie.
Keep in mind. This seems to be, which I'm glad this kind of played into again the themes from Last of Us 2 about actual settlements. Like this seems to be like a bit of a town of sorts. Like people are dispersing. They turn like this rec hall to like a church / rec room. So I'm sure there's like apartments and places where people live at. So it would make sense that there may not be any clickers or whatever, because they seem like, they get kind of like, Tommy's place. Like they got it locked down over there. And so when I think about that, I'm like, okay, I guess it would make sense that there would be no clickers. So I kind of give it a pass. But we got our action a little bit with Joel, and they did the bit so good. It was different, but they did the bit so good. I was wondering when they were going to do it too. I was thinking, like, how are they going to do this? Because Joel, which I'm glad they did this. They made Joel way more fucked up than in the game. He is. Like Ellie leaves the house. So in the game, for those who don't know, Ellie leaves the house, gets the guys away from him,
and Joel's just fucking good.
and then he just wakes up. He's like stumbling a little bit, like tiny little bit, but then
when you get into gameplay, he's good.
Yeah, but then once you actually control him out of the house, and he's like trying to find Ellie, you got to take out.
You're hopping over shit and fucking
totally
and running and everything.
Totally okay. Well, maybe in the cutscene, the interrogation cutscene, he's kind of still feeling it a little bit.
But Joel's other than that in the show.
But in the show, then this dude, I was like wondering, okay, when that guy came into the house, I was like, how is this about to play out? Because Joel,
he just falls on him.
Joel's messed up, man. So I was thinking, like, when he killed the guy and then he got up and he moved forward, I was thinking, this is 100% adrenaline. This has got to be 100% because this man can barely move. Like,
and For people like me who wondered, does a penicillin work like that? Do you just stab the fucking wound?
I'm
You
sure you.
don't.
Yeah, I'm saying. I'm sure you don't.
You don't. I looked it up. There's already articles on like, did she do it right? So most likely that would not have helped
I like how you
because
had to look this up from the show when she did the exact same thing in the game, and we just like, yeah, all right, no. In the game, we're just like, yeah, game logic.
in
No
the
big deal.
game I fucking heal from bullet wounds by wrapping gauze around my arm. Like
That's true. That's
yeah.
true. That's
But
true.
no, she should have stabbed him in a big muscly part like the thigh. The thigh is where you want to put. So if you're ever in a situation where you need to administer penicillin,
Listen up, kids.
do it in the thigh. That's where you want to go.
It's
Yep.
like an EpiPen.
Like an EpiPen. Exactly.
Just put it
like
in the thigh.
Yep.
Well, anyways, so yeah, I was thinking like this guy's moving 100% on adrenaline because he is fucked up. He is so, which I'm glad they did. I loved that humanization and like a real like what would probably be like, you know. But I was thinking, okay, he took out those guys, but I'm like, okay, so what about I know the interrogation is going to happen. It has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, okay, how are they going to do this? And then when he took out the other guy, I was like, oh, here it is. And then he did it. And it was a bit too fast. I wish they had slowed it down a tiny bit because like in the game, it took its time. And
you also don't want it to be torture porn, though. Like,
no, it wasn't torture porn in the game, but it's just like it just felt a tad bit like 5% slower in the game, like in the game's cutscene. They did a lot of the same stuff, but it's just like I just felt like it was a bit faster in the show. But it's fine. It was still good. Like he stabbed the dude's knee, he twisted it. He said like I'm gonna pop your damn kneecap off. I was like, oh yes.
Dude, I fucking love the I'm not gonna tell you shit. It's fine. I believe him.
I believe him anyways. Yep. Yep. And I love that. That interrogation is pretty much again 1 for 1. Like almost, I think every line said was about the same. Even putting the knife in the dude's mouth and having him pulling on the map, exactly the same. And then with the guy saying like "fuck you, I'm not telling you anything," and Joel's like you said, Joel's like, "That's all right." I believe him. It's just wailed on him. That was literally from the game. And that's one of my favorite cutscenes because that's when you know Joel is on the rampage.
Well,
and Joel actually cares about Ellie now. Like that's how you know. And I love that cutscene for it.
In the game, did we by then know that they were cannibals?
By that cutscene?
Yeah, by the interrogation cutscene.
After that cutscene.
Okay. Because I was like...
Because it cuts to... The way it gets revealed is different. It's very different. So I think it cuts to another cutscene where Ellie... Because Ellie had been captured at this point in the game. Because in the game, you go through a whole thing where Ellie's taking out goons and then she makes it to the resort and then that's when David captures her. But anyways, the cage bit is all the same. But when she wakes up, I think it's James. He's actually chopping a body up and then moving the arm off the table, and that's when she wakes up and she sees it, and then James notices, and then just then he leaves the room, and then I think David comes back in to talk to her.
Yeah.
So it was kind of the same where like she wakes up and instead of David chopping or James,
there's just a fucking ear in the drain.
There's just an ear instead.
I mean, like if you're fucking like hiding it from the rest of your group, you think you'd clean up a little bit better. Just like go, nah, like, oh man, did you throw away that ear that we cut off, James or Nathan? I thought you threw it away. Oh fuck.
That's probably gone.
We'll take care of it later.
That's all right. It's probably down the drain. So yeah, that's how we found out in the game. So it's kind of the same. Like it's the same time when she wakes up, but it's just done a bit differently.
Because what I asked is like, if you think about it, all like Joel has no information. He doesn't know that these people. I mean, I think he probably remembers that Ellie said that she was going to lead them away and to kill anybody who came down. But at the same time, he doesn't know that these guys are trying to kill him. He doesn't know that they mean Ellie any harm at all. These are just dudes, for all he knows, that just stumbled upon them. And he just fucking does not give a single fuck. All he knows is that Ellie's not there, and he's fucking killing everyone until he gets her. And it's just so brutal. Like, it just shows that, like, literally Joel cares about no one but Ellie. And, like, how that carries in to later in the game and now for the next episode, I think
But it gets
is just
done a bit
brutal.
differently in the show, so, which is fine because, and again, I guess this is gonna be where like people are upset that there's no action. I was just kind of expecting Joel to be able to kind of have to fight his way through to find the lodge, like in the game, like maybe take out a few more goons or whatever. But then again, we only saw 5 of them come to the town, so
Yeah, it doesn't look like that group had a lot of able-bodied men.
which makes sense.
I think of all of the able-bodied men we saw, Joel killed 3 of them.
3 of them. I mean,
3 of them.
I mean, so yeah, we have to assume there's not many.
And Ellie killed the other 2.
And that's true because I mean, in the early scene where the episode starts, and it's kind of, and Joel and David's giving his gospel or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw
all you see is
old
women
people.
and children.
No, and old people.
Yeah.
I saw old men.
Yeah.
Mainly a lot of old people. And I was like, yo, what the hell? Like, there's a lot of old people here.
Which, all of those people, I don't know if they're going to address this. All of those old people, women and children, are fucked. They are fucked. Mm-hmm. They are all dying. Yeah. They're all starving to death.
Yeah. But I was just like, damn, son, like they are.
Have old. That way on your conscience.
They are all. Like, man, this is not a good team. So I guess, yeah, those probably 5 are probably the most able-bodied people in the entire group. And so it makes sense that he didn't have to fight anybody else. If you kind of go by that assumption, I was kind of thinking he might, but I guess this makes sense because it also allows everything to focus on Ellie, which that was what the winter chapter was all about anyways, it was all about Ellie. And so this definitely gives the spotlight on her because she has to fend for herself. She has to get out of this on her own, which is kind of from the game too, because never once in the game do Joel and Ellie work together throughout pretty much the entire winter chapter. I think actually, yes, the entire winter chapter of the game.
Yeah,
they don't work together.
It's right at the
once.
end.
It's all separated. You play as Ellie by herself, and you play Joel by himself. You go back and forth like that. You never play as them where they're working together, and that's to give the spotlight on Ellie. And in the show, Joel trying to find his way back to her, but it still comes down to Ellie to save herself, which the show just zoned in on that even further. And so the whole scene from the game where they fight in the burning I don't know, lodge or lounge or whatever
restaurant, it really was a restaurant,
which I'm glad. Okay, they kind of retconned this because the way the whole place is even burning is because Ellie throws a candlestick or a burning log or whatever and misses and it hits some drapes. In the game, there's really no reason why the whole place is burning. I think I can't remember how it was burning,
but I think something gets knocked over, like a lamp or something. But
you could totally miss it if you weren't paying attention, and so you'd be like, "Why the fuck?"
The first time I played it, I was like, "Wait, the fucking thing's on fire?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Why is this all on fire?" Like, just obviously for dramatic effect, but like, why is this on fire?
Yeah, I think at the beginning they knock over a lamp in the initial struggle or something.
Oh wait, that might be it. Yeah, or something like. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like, but the show makes it way more direct.
They like,
there's an exact reason. This is exactly why the place is on fire. So I'm like, that great. I'm glad you did that. But basically, other than that, everything's pretty much the same. Even some of the lines that he says while while like stalking, not really stalking Ellie because he doesn't know where he is or she is, but like, kind of lurking and everything. Some of the lines that he says are from the game. I can't remember all of them, but like there were some that I was like, I think that's what he says while walking around.
Yeah.
And then like the stabbing part was the same, and then even kicking her in the stomach was the same.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's really everything is the same, like 1-to-1 for sure. And then getting on top of her and everything, that was the same. But then comes this zip part, which I don't know how I missed that. But then I will say, okay, so Ellie killing David was the same, but I just felt the game did it better a little bit because, okay, what happens in the game is Ellie grabs the big old butcher knife, stabs him, David falls off, and then she gets on top of him, and then grabs the knife again and just goes to town, like she does in the show. Just goes to town on him. But in the game, so she does it like twice, where you hear David actually scream, but then after that, it kind of stops, and you have this really soft ambient music playing in the back that starts with, and Ellie's not really screaming so much anymore. She's kind of just but she is going nuts, and you could tell she's in distress, but she's not screaming. And that music playing really kind of sets the mood in that moment, whereas it kind of helps take away the gruesomeness. You kind of see the sadness and the brokenness in her. And then that's when Joel comes in. He finally, because he found the building, and then
he busts into the building
and then grabs her, pulls her off. She's like, he's like, Ellie, and then she says the same lines, like, get the fuck up. Says all the same lines, and then like has to pull her in and says, hey, it's just me. And then Ellie's just like, Joel, and they hug and all this shit. But with that music playing, just makes it so good. And they didn't do that here. It was just raw fucking slash after slash after slash. I had to like look away. I was like, oh god,
yeah, it's brutal.
And I was like, I get it, but like, fuck. And I don't know, something about it just didn't hit me in the same way that the game did. I guess it did. I got it. It got the same point across. But yeah, and I don't know why they didn't have Joel come into the building, because I felt like that was a really
I think that what they wanted to do, because we did not get a play as Ellie, in the show, obviously, they wanted, like you said, to make it all about Ellie. I think that they wanted to make it from start to end Ellie doing it. She not only did she free herself, not only did she kill David, but she also escaped the situation all by herself. I think that was the point.
Yeah.
I think if you have Joel come in at the end, then at least a little bit gives credit to Joel for breaking into the place and saving her. I think they wanted to give her the entire credit.
Yeah, I suppose it does, because but honestly, it kind of makes Joel seem like he was just lost the entire fucking time, which I guess in a way he kind of was in this episode, because I mean, this dude's still.
I'm glad he even got there. Honestly, he was so fucked. Yeah, he got.
Yeah, there. I don't know.
It's a win for Joel.
Walking. I guess even the fact that he stood up was a win for him. So, but I guess I don't. It did its job. It did its purpose, and I after watching the after thingy, whatever, they talked about that they really wanted to make it all about her, that like there was no one to save her, there's no Joel, there's no one, it's just her. And it does do that. I guess I don't know though, because like I can go and rewatch that cutscene from the game over and over again. It just hits me so hard, but I don't ever want to see that shit in the show ever again. I don't ever want
it's rough again. And again, I think that they're pre-diving into the themes of 2, because I loved Last of Us 2. Fuck anyone who said it was
Did you
bad.
even like the Abby parts? Like playing
even the Abby parts.
The game as Abby?
even the Abby parts I like. Okay. But I don't think I ever want to play that game again, because it made me feel so fucking dirty about like everyone I was killing. Like I didn't want to kill anyone, but you have this person on screen who absolutely fucking does want to kill everyone, and she does. I think that they might be delving into those, violence is not fun, is not a good thing, a little early. But before we get to our rankings, let's talk about the performance of Troy Baker
as James.
As James.
Yes.
As James.
I love how, speaking of him, he died in the exact same way in the game. Literally the exact same way, which is great, which was wonderful. Like, again,
I just love that he was so excited to like in the after part, he talks about the way he dies. He's just like, and then I was like and then she chopped me in the head, in the neck, and then I hit the wall, and I slept. Like, he's so fucking happy about it. Like, it was like this big dramatic, like Oscar worthy women performance, and I was like, it was good, but he was just so over the top excited. He was like, I just thought I was going to be a clicker or something. Yeah,
he was like, I thought it
gave me a role.
Yeah, but I didn't read it, but I saw a headline for a news article about it after, like, on Monday, or I guess this morning, and he was like saying like it would have been too on the nose if I was actually David, because I guess that was a possibility of him being David, and
Yeah.
he was like, I guess I don't think he wanted it, so.
Yeah.
But him as James was awesome, and so
Yeah. You did a really good
and
job.
honestly, he kind of looks like the James in the game, which is funny because
James in the game is kind of younger.
which okay, besides the age, but like I don't know, like it's weird because James is. I mean, yeah, he's like a nobody, but they actually kind of gave him a little bit of character in the game.
I would say
And it's weird how they actually took that much care into an NPC, having him be an NPC like that.
Yeah, I would say in the game, I don't see the James in the game as like a second to David at all.
No. Well, no.
But in the show, I get like James, to me, James is David's second. Like I can see that I can imagine them having like a history and that like.
Well, because we got more time for them in the show, whereas we don't have that.
So like I really enjoyed Troy Baker's performance. I thought he did a really good job. I'm loving just that they're even considering not only just like giving them like Troy said like oh look, there's Troy Baker as a infected or something like that. They're like giving them legit roles, like the voice actors. Like I love that, and I think that Ellie's voice actor is going to be in the next episode, maybe as that woman that you saw, whether that be Ellie's mom or someone else. They're giving her a speaking role in the next episode. So
I gotta look her up because I don't know what she looks like.
Yeah,
so I gotta
go me too. Up. Yeah, I gotta look her up.
I think her name is Ashley Johnson or something like that. Or
yeah, I think Ashley Johnson sounds right.
Something like
Ashley
that.
Johnson.
So I have to look her up because I don't know what she looks like. I did know what Troy looks like. I mean, he kind of changes his hair all the fucking time, but I do know what he looks like generally.
Yeah.
So dope.
Yeah, but no, it's cool. It's cool for me. I love that they're paying homage to the game in those ways. I mean, in fucking every way. This again, like this has been for everyone's complaints and for mostly stupid fucking reasons. Looking at you, Malone, whatever. I don't even fucking remember your name anymore.
Because he doesn't matter. I don't know why you got so mad about it.
For everyone's complaints, this is, like we said last episode, maybe the most true to source material
game
adaptation that I mean of any media. Like this might be the most one-for-one adaptation of all time. Like there's probably ones that have done a lot better, but like of recent memory, the Marvel movies are not one-for-ones at all. Even Lord of the Rings changed a bunch of stuff, even though theirs is really, really good one-for-one. Like, this has been amazing. And I think that it needs to be said as much as possible that it is pretty one-for-one and that this is what we fucking want. Like we're fine with a little bit of, creative liberty in the game, but like we want a lot of one-for-one shit. So if they ever make any fucking like Uncharted, I want a lot of one-for-one shit.
No,
I don't fucking want fucking Spider-Man and fucking Marky Mark, doing their own shit and, new take on fucking Uncharted. Uncharted's a fucking great story. Just give me fucking Drake hanging from a goddamn train and going, oh fuck, or whatever he says. Like, I don't remember that. But like, I just need that scene.
Just give me Nathan Fillion as Drake, and we're good. See, like
the thing is, he is too old now. Nathan Fillion is too old now.
Oh well,
but he was perfect in that short.
Well, no, do the Uncharted 4 story because that's when Drake is old in that one.
I guess just fucking jumped on Trey and do Nathan Fillion. Yeah, because he fucking nailed it in that short.
Or just do an older Drake and do a new series based off of that. Or something.
Yeah, if you want to create new material,
but no, that short story was brand new and it was perfect. But anyway,
this is what we want.
Well, we knew that we could do it because that little short mini movie with Uncharted, that was your example. That's your example.
Yeah,
it's been here. How long is it? How old is that video? Like 10 years now?
I think 2010 or something like that.
We've had an example to go off of for a long time. And yet everybody who wants to do something based off a game just ignores that. And it's like, yo, that was a brand new story too. That was like made up. They just made that shit up. It didn't matter. It was like, yes, I want this, that. Give me that. You know, like Sully was perfect. Drake was perfect.
Yeah. Fucking Drake tied to a chair and just fucking cracking jokes at the expense of the guys who are beating the shit out of him.
Yeah. And having a backup plan at all times. And then Sully with his fucking cigar and his actual mustache and actually being old. Like, I'm glad now that you're mad at Uncharted movie, because when we watched it, you were way too, you know,
as an action movie, it's a solid 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Okay.
As a just devoid of it being an Uncharted movie, it's a 6 out of 10.
With all those edits we saw, with all those issues we saw, all the errors. Okay, you know what? I give you a 6 because it has Antonio Banderas in it. So I'll let you have that 6.
Antonio
Banderas. Anyways, yes, this has been the best game for sure. I don't know about everything else, but game for sure. This is the greatest game to silver or big screen adaptation there has ever been, and this is what happens when you care. Which is the same thing with video games in general.
Yeah.
You have a great game that comes out.
Maybe they should fucking involve the people who wrote the original story more often. It's a novel concept, I know, but maybe they should be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, if you just let people care and you give the people who make the shit creative freedom to do what they want to do, and you don't fucking try to meddle in with the shit halfway through, this is what will happen. Which is, like I said, the exact basically reflection of the whole game industry as a whole. So, but anyways,
that's why I'm looking forward to, real quick, I'm looking forward to the Netflix. I'm actually looking forward to the Netflix One Piece adaptation, because Oda is heavily involved. So I actually have some faith in the Netflix One Piece live action adaptation.
It's going to be a movie or a show?
It's a show.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
They fucking.
How can you have a show based off of a source material that's not even done yet?
Because it's thousands of episodes long. Like, they have what, fucking 23 years of content? Like, they could start now making this fucking content and not be done by the time I'm dead. Okay? Like,
well, I don't know. If they go as fast through as The Last of Us did with its game, I don't know, man. You might not be that. You might be like 70 by the time.
They have made a 1-for-1 recreation of their first pirate ship.
Is that not the what's it called?
The Going Merry.
Yeah, something about Mary.
It looks a little like, I'll be honest, the only thing I don't like about what I've seen so far is that the headmast, the sheep of the Going Merry in the live action one looks a little creepy, because it's like has its mouth open, is like whinnying or whatever fucking sheep do, and that's not how the Mary is in the anime. But everything else looks fucking incredible. They got the races correct for each one of the crewmates. So Oda put out, he has told us what race each of the crewmates are, and they got the races right. So like, people were complaining at first, like, oh man, why'd they get a Hispanic person to play Luffy when he's, they're taking away Asian jobs, and look at this again. Which, I mean, Ghost in the Shell stuff, like, they have reason to complain. But no, Oda was like, no, Luffy's fucking Mexican, and Usopp's black, Nami's white, so's Sanji is French, and Zoro is Asian. And so they got all of that. So I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, sorry.
I guess Usopp does have those.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there is some casual Asian racism towards black people in most anime. But no, we'll talk about with that. Maybe I'll do a mini review of that when that comes out. We probably won't do an episode for episode. because we don't have a shared relationship
Even if I watched it, what would
in
I
One
even
Piece.
have the base off of, man?
Yeah,
I don't even
but
know.
maybe we'll do like once the series is over. I'll watch every episode and we'll do
Oh, you sure
a
will.
little one thing. But let's get to our ratings. I'll go first on this one. I would say as a show, it's probably an 8 out of 10. It's not one of my favorite episodes. I think for sure my favorite episode is still the one with the brothers.
Well, which one? There's two. They were a two-parter. So
Both of those, I guess. I guess I see those as combined. Those two episodes combined. I guess the first one I didn't like too much because I didn't necessarily like the chick's portrayal of her character as much. But
Kathleen, yes,
I
Kathleen.
guess the second episode is probably my favorite, where the tragedy happens, and that to me is again like a 9.5. I would say this is probably an 8 out of 10. An adaptation, probably a 10 out of 10 because, like you said, it's like minus a few minor things. It's pretty much ripped from the game. So I'll go 10 out of 10 for adaptation.
Okay. You know what? I think I gotta agree. I mean, I almost want to dock it half a point for the Jesus shit, but you know what? The Joel interrogation scene redeems it, and so I think I gotta give it a 10. This was beyond maybe the first episode. Yeah, I only thing I was thinking maybe was that Ellie doesn't know how to use a bow in the show, which is
Yeah, they have
interesting.
not used a bow yet.
She
It's
hasn't
just
used
been
a
about
bow,
the rifle.
and it's just the rifle, which I
I
mean,
think
I
the
guess it's
rifle
fine
has just replaced it.
which is fine because like in the game you kind of just find a bow, so I guess
I
that
mean,
would make sense.
it was the mid 2000s. There was a bow in fucking every game. Like if
Bro,
you
there's
have
still bows. There's still bows in games.
That's true. Like bows are ubiquitous in games like this.
Because they're
Like
so good.
they're fun to use.
I
It's true.
love the bow. The bow's the
There's
best.
nothing
Anyways,
quite like hitting that hit. Like I've been using it in Wulong, and I'm just like, boom, headshot, bitch, yeah.
okay, I will. Side note: the bow in Wolong isn't as good as the bow in Neo, but I'm just putting that aside.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So 10 out of 10 adaptation for damn sure. The little things that they fleshed things out a bit doesn't deteriorate or take away from the source material, and so much of the source material is in this episode, which just made me smile when she calls James Buddy Boy. I was like, God damn it. God damn it. They did it. They actually did it.
Same for Buddy Boy over there.
Same for Buddy Boy over
And
there. I was
Buddy
like, oh,
Boy is such like a fucking like stupid thing. Like if you're
I know.
trying like that shows again, this shows that they're fucking like that they want to make an accurate thing because if you don't have love for the source material, there's no way you fucking put that line in there because it's so fucking lame. Like you would be like, and that motherfucker over there or something like that. You know, you can imagine Hollywood making.
However, I will say
like
in the game, Ashley's voice actress kind of made it okay. Like it didn't seem that lame when she said it.
I don't know. I just watched it, and it kind of is lame there too.
Really?
Like,
I mean, it's not the most threatening thing in the world.
To me, what it screams of is a little girl who's holding people up for the first time in her life, and it's just like, and Buddy Boy over there too. Like it screams that like awkwardness.
I will say it screamed. Okay, the awkwardness I felt more in the show.
Yeah, true.
I didn't really feel it very much. I felt like she kind of felt confident to me in the game. But then again, we have a professional voice actress who's not a kid, so I guess go figure. Anyway, so no more of that. Review for as a show. I'm trying to think of like the masses. Probably 8.5 because of the emotional payoff we get at the end.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are gonna love that. And they're going to love the interrogation scene. At least they better. I'm going to be really upset. And they're going to love how Joel's just fucked up. And they're going to love how Ellie basically has to fend for herself. And so, yeah.
Sweet.
I think it'd be an 8.5.
I think one last thing before we end, and I'll say this before the next episode comes out. So I have, like I did today, said that I am okay with their I don't know, unwillingness or just a decision not to have too much action in the show. I will not be okay with it. Most likely, unless they do something that blows my mind. But there has to be a bloodbath in this last episode. There has to be. Like, I cannot picture a scenario in which I accept this last episode unless Joel fucking kills like 25 people
In the
at
hospital.
least.
Yeah, at the
Yeah.
hospital.
That he just goes fucking ham and just fucking one man armies this shit. Like, I would love to, if, because in the game obviously you get hit a lot, you might even die and have to restart. In the show he's obviously not going to die, but I would love if he like takes some fucking rounds and he just fucking
Keeps going.
just one man's armies this shit just fucking destroys people. Like I will say, like, if they don't do it, I'm still gonna try to keep open minded. But in my opinion, out of all of the action that they have nixed from the game to the series, this is something that in my mind they can't. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, and if it ends up being an hour and a half this time, hopefully it'll give them enough time to do
I
something.
swear they said something about an hour and a half.
Well, hey, maybe the next one, if the next one is, maybe it'll give them enough time to have a bloodbath scene towards the end, because I guess there's a lot of they go through before they even get there. So, yeah. But anyways, that's this week's episode, guys. Episode 8 of Last of Us. The last episode is next week. We will be covering that as well. Stay tuned for it, and then we'll be back to talking about nonsense again. Anyways, so yeah, if you like this, like, comment, subscribe as always. Hit the bell, comment below, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.